Hello MotoGP fans, welcome back to ZNGP Today. Ducati's dominance in MotoGP continues, but this season, it's the Márquez brothers leading the charge. With Marc and Alex Márquez securing their fourth consecutive 1-2 finish of the season in Argentina, their performances have turned the intra-Ducati rivalry into the biggest story of the year. Ducati general manager Gigi Dall'Igna was among those watching closely, describing their battle as a great and beautiful display of talent and determination. Pecco Bagnaia's title defense is off to a rocky start, and after another underwhelming weekend in Argentina, is contemplating a drastic move, ditching his current Ducati GP25 in favor of last year's GP24. The Italian admits that he hasn't adapted to the new bike as expected and believes a return to the familiar GP24 could help him regain his form. Aprilia Racing is advocating for a rule change that would allow MotoGP riders returning from injury to complete a one-day private test before resuming race action. The proposal, which has gained support from all but one manufacturer, was sparked by Jorge Martin's current dilemma. However, the amendment requires unanimous approval, and Ducati has expressed a preference to delay the change until 2026. AI Ogura's remarkable ride from 15th to 8th place in the Argentine Grand Prix was ultimately rendered meaningless when he was disqualified due to a technical infringement. The disqualification stripped Ogura of 8 crucial championship points, dropping him from 5th to 8th in the overall standings. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. So far in 2025, no one has been able to break the Ducati Lenovo and Gresini stranglehold at the front. Marc Márquez, in his first year on the factory team, has adapted quickly to the GP24, winning every race. But his biggest challenger hasn't been Pecco Bagnaia. It's been his younger brother, Alex. Alex has finished second in all 4 races this season, making him the only rider to consistently challenge Marc's pace. His performance in Argentina was his strongest yet, as he led for most of the Grand Prix and pushed Marc into multiple mistakes before ultimately finishing 1.3 seconds behind. Meanwhile, Ducati's overall strength remains undeniable. The GP24 has proven to be far ahead of the competition, even with the factory team opting not to introduce a new engine for 2025. Despite this, the Italian brand continues to dominate, while rivals like Aprilia and KTM struggle to match their race pace. I must say I witnessed a great and beautiful battle, Dall'Igna admitted. Marc's path to victory in Argentina was far from easy. A rare mistake on lap 4 allowed Alex to take control of the race, and for much of the distance, it seemed like the younger Márquez might finally take his first MotoGP victory. But as the laps counted down, Marc showed why he's an 8-time world champion. Pushing his Ducati to the limit, he reeled in his brother and launched his first attack with 10 laps to go. Alex responded, setting his personal best lap in an effort to hold on, but Marc had just a little more speed when it mattered most. With 5 laps remaining, Marc completed the decisive move at turn 5 and held on to take his 90th Premier Class victory. While Alex was frustrated to miss out, his performance once again proved that he is a legitimate title contender this season. While the Márquez brothers fought at the front, Pecco Bagnaia endured another difficult weekend. The 2-time MotoGP champion was expected to be Marc's main challenger this season, but he has yet to find the form that made him so dominant in 2023 and 2024. In Argentina, he battled hard but was ultimately unable to match the podium pace. Franco Morbidelli got the better of him in the closing stages, leaving Bagnaia 4th at the finish and now 31 points adrift of Marc in the standings. After the race, there was speculation that Bagnaia's struggles were tire-related, but Dall'Igna dismissed those concerns. Now we'll see if he had a small problem with the front end, we'll take a look at it. But it has nothing to do with the tires, Dall'Igna clarified. With Coda up next, one of Marc Márquez's strongest tracks, Bagnaia will need to find a breakthrough quickly. Otherwise, the Ducati championship fight could soon become an all Márquez affair. Marc Márquez's seamless transition to the factory Ducati squad has put immediate pressure on Bagnaia. While Pecco was expected to be the brand's leading rider, Márquez has outshined him in every race so far, taking 4 consecutive wins across sprints and Grands Prix. Bagnaia, on the other hand, has only managed 3 third-place finishes and a 4th in Argentina. "Marc is very strong, he's the rider to beat," Bagnaia admitted after the Tomás de Rio Hondo race. Despite making small improvements throughout the Argentina weekend, Bagnaia still struggled with key aspects of the GP25, particularly rear tire control. He described the situation as frustrating, considering the bike isn't supposed to be drastically different from last year's model. With Márquez dominating early in the season, Bagnaia is now evaluating whether switching back to the GP24 could be the solution. The Italian feels that something is missing in his riding and is willing to take drastic measures to recover lost ground. "Perhaps, starting with the next race, I'll return to the GP24, because at the moment my feelings are very strange," he revealed. Austin could be a crucial turning point. Historically, Circuit of the Americas has been one of Marc Márquez's strongest tracks, making it a daunting challenge for Bagnaia to claw back points. But with the season still in its early stages, the Italian remains hopeful that he can turn things around. Despite the tough start, Bagnaia refuses to settle for podium scraps. He believes that once he rediscovers his natural feeling on the bike, he can challenge Márquez for victories rather than fighting for 3rd or 4th place. "The key is to find my feeling again, because with that, I can fight for wins, not for 4th place," he emphasized. As Ducati evaluates whether to greenlight his potential switch to the GP24, Bagnaia is doubling down on his efforts to solve his current struggles. He remains confident that hard work, both on and off the track, will allow him to get back to his usual level. "I may have to try to adapt to this situation, but I know that working with my team will make a difference," he concluded. With a critical showdown in Austin looming, all eyes will be on whether Bagnaia sticks with the GP25 or makes the bold move back to the GP24 in a bid to halt Márquez's momentum. Jorge Martin is targeting a return at round 4 in Qatar, but with MotoGP's strict testing limitations, he has no opportunity to evaluate his fitness on an RSGP bike beforehand. Under current rules, only Yamaha and Honda, due to their concession status, are permitted unlimited private testing, while Ducati, Aprilia, and KTM can only test at official sessions. In principle, the idea was to offer a one-day test to a rider that stays away from many races. "I think it should be valid for any kind of case," said Aprilia Racing CEO Massimo Rivola. Without approval for a rule change, Martin's only option is to test on a production superbike, which Aprilia argues is an inadequate substitute for a full-spec MotoGP machine. This restriction could force Martin to withdraw early from a planned comeback, potentially leaving Aprilia without a key rider once again. While Ducati has signaled its willingness to support the rule change, they prefer implementing it in 2026 rather than mid-season. This reluctance could derail Aprilia's push for an immediate amendment, as unanimous approval is required for any rule modifications during the championship. "Honestly, I think if the idea is good, it's not only good from next year," Rivola asserted. Aprilia sees this as a missed opportunity for MotoGP, particularly from a safety perspective. If a rider like Martin were to attempt a return in Qatar without prior testing and struggle with injury, he could be forced to withdraw, further reducing the grid size for race weekend. For Rivola, the opposition to an immediate rule change is difficult to comprehend, especially since Martin is already out of title contention due to his injuries. The Aprilia boss insists that the amendment isn't just about his team, it's about improving conditions for all riders in similar situations. "I cannot say that Jorge is a threat to Ducati for the championship. He's clearly out," Rivola stated. Aprilia's injury struggles continued in Argentina when test rider Lorenzo Savadori, who was filling in for Martin, was forced to withdraw from Sunday's race due to a shoulder injury. The Italian manufacturer remains hopeful that the upcoming COTA round will provide an opportunity to push the discussion further. However, without full manufacturer support, Martin may have no choice but to return to racing without the advantage of a test, adding another layer of difficulty to an already challenging comeback. Ogura's impressive charge through the field highlighted his talent, but it was all undone post-race. Trackhouse team principal Davide Brivio expressed his frustration over the ruling but remained supportive of his rider's performance. The post-race sanction against AI is very disappointing. We have to accept the decision of the stewards, but we feel very sorry for AI because this didn't give him any advantage. It's disappointing to take away points from such a great race, Brivio said. Ogura had been steadily improving throughout the weekend, struggling in the sprint but finding a breakthrough in Sunday's warm-up. A strong start saw him gain 5 positions on the opening lap before he fought his way past Pedro Acosta and finished just behind Brad Binder. For the Moto2 champion, the disqualification was a bitter pill to swallow. Despite losing his 8th-place finish, Ogura took pride in his performance, particularly his racercraft against seasoned MotoGP riders. The race was really good. I gained a lot of positions early on, and I was able to pass a few riders. I think on the brakes, I was okay, but against Binder, it was tough. I tried to overtake him on the last lap but couldn't find a way through, Ogura reflected. His disqualification means he will head to the circuit of the Americas with fewer points than expected, but his early season form suggests he will remain a contender for strong finishes as he gains more experience in the Premier class. The only positive for Trackhouse came from Ogura's misfortune, as his disqualification promoted teammate Raul Fernandez into 15th, earning the Spaniard his first point of the season. Fernandez had a challenging weekend himself, serving a long lap penalty in the sprint following contact with Enea Bastianini. However, the Spaniard took the incident in stride and praised the new FIM steward panel, led by Simon Crafar, for their approach to rider communication. First of all, I'm happy with the new steward panel. You can speak with them and explain your point of view. I agree only 50% with the penalty because I touched with Enea, but he crashed alone. But I'm still happy with how it was handled, Fernandez said. Despite his frustrations, Fernandez found some momentum by reverting to his 2024 bike setup. The change improved his comfort and confidence, particularly in the latter stages of the race. In the last part of the race, I felt very good with the bike and the tires, so I am very motivated to go to Texas, he added. With the next round at COTA, both Trackhouse riders will look to put the disappointment of Argentina behind them and focus on making further progress in MotoGP's competitive field. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. See you next time.